The views and opinions expressed by guests on this podcast are solely their own and do not represent the position of the host, this show, or any organization either party is affiliated with. All content is shared purely for educational and inspirational purposes. Nothing discussed here constitutes professional advice. Listeners are encouraged to independently verify any information before acting on it. The host is not responsible for any outcomes resulting from guest statements. By listening, you agree that you are solely responsible for how you use the information shared. Welcome to the Tech Sharmit podcast, where technology is not just news, but the roadmap to the future. This is a space where we explore the latest tech trends, AI, startups, gadgets, and the ideas that redefine the way we think. Leading this conversation is Amit Sharma, globally recognized as Tech Sharmit. A technologist from Bharat, Amit brings an Indian perspective to the global technology landscape. With deep technical expertise and strong industry insight, and for his contributions and impact within the global tech community, he has been recognized with several prestigious honors, including Google Developer Expert, Microsoft MVP, IBM Champion, and Planet Mainframe Influencer. Through this podcast, he shares practical knowledge, real-world perspectives, and globally relevant thinking designed to help you stay ahead in an ever-evolving technology landscape. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the Tech Sharmit channel to stay updated with future episodes. And if you're looking to level up your skills, don't forget to explore the Tech Sharmit digital course book in the description box, where you'll find thousands of free programming courses curated to help you grow as a developer. So plug in your headphones and join us as we begin today's episode of the Tech Sharmit podcast.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Tech Sharmit podcast. Today I am joined by another very special guest, Sakshi Kokardekar, who is joining us from Bharat itself. If I talk about Sakshi, then she is a two-time Microsoft MVP, a software engineer, and the founder of Nagpur Tech Community. Her work spans AI, machine learning, IoT, robotics, and cloud technologies using Microsoft Azure, with a strong focus on building practical, scalable, and intelligent systems. So, in today's episode, we will talk about Azure AI, RAG pipelines, IoT architecture, and many other things. But before we proceed further with the discussion, I would like to thank Sakshi for joining us today in this episode. And now I request you to please initiate the discussion by telling us a bit about yourself.
Yeah. So, hello everyone, and thank you so much, Amit sir, for having me today for this podcast. So, I am Sakshi Kokardekar. Just to tell a quick intro about myself, I work in the field of AI and cloud technologies, and I am passionate about building innovative solutions, contributing to the tech communities, and mentoring aspiring professionals. So, over the past years, I have been actively involved in AI research, community initiatives, and knowledge sharing. And yes, I am excited to be here today to share my journey experiences and thoughts on the evolving world of technologies.
Thank you for joining Sakshi. And as like those who know Sakshi, they already know like how much she has contributed for this IT industry in different ways, especially the people of Nagpur, because the way she is leading the Nagpur community is really a commendable job. And still actively as a MVP and community member, she is contributing a lot. So before we talk about the technical aspects, we just wanted to know about the initial days of your journey, because you started with a software engineering degree and quickly built your expertise across ML, machine learning, cloud, and IoT and robotics. So could you please tell us, like, was there any specific project or a moment that made you think that yes, this is a particular genre where you want to contribute, or it all happened all of sudden? Like, how these things came into your life? Like, what was the journey?
Okay, so I think it was more of a gradual pull towards AI and Azure rather than one single movement. So
Okay.
during my software engineering journey, I was constantly exploring different domains like IoT, robotics, cloud computing, and machine learning through projects, hackathons, as well as community activities. I was always curious about how technology could solve real world problems instead of just theoretical concepts.
Okay.
So one of the biggest turning point was working on a IoT based research project where we combined the sensors, cloud platform and AI driven insight. That was the first time I truly experienced how intelligent systems can create practical impact in areas like automation, monitoring and decision making. So while building those solutions, I also realized how important cloud platforms like Azure are because AI becomes much more powerful when you can actually deploy scale and integrate into real world systems.
Correct.
And at the same time, I was actively involved in technical communities as well as the Microsoft ecosystem programs during my initial engineering days, which exposed me to emerging technologies much earlier. Over time, I naturally became more interested in building intelligent systems that could learn, automate tasks, and assist humans efficiently. So rather than just one dramatic moment, it was a continuous journey of curiosity, experimentation, and learning, and also exposure to impactful projects that gradually pulled me deeper into Azure AI and applied innovations.
Okay, so I think this is a great learning for the audience, especially those who are into their graduation phase, that if you wanted something really with a passion, by the time things will came into your life and suddenly by the time you will achieve those all things as Shakshi achieved in her journey. And if you look at carefully, like the one common thing was passion, because throughout the journey she looked for the opportunity, she performed accordingly, and now we all know that she earned the prestigious title like Microsoft MVPs and many other um, titles from the industry, right? So I think this is the best way. Just stay focused on your work, try to do something with your passion, and innovate the solution by the time. So it will take you to the great height of the opportunities. So that's a great thing. And Sakshi, like when we look towards your journey, so we can clearly see that you have balanced research, innovation, and real world AI implementation as well. From like publishing the papers and receiving the patent by the government of India for your one of your IoT based research. So my question is like, how do you manage both research and practical development at a time, and how do they got they influence each other in your work? Because these are like we can say that these are two separate roads, but you are working at the intersection of it. So how do you manage both things together?
Okay, so for me, research and practical implementation are deeply connected. Like they
Okay.
constantly strengthen each other.
Mm-hmm.
Research helps me think innovatively and approach problems in a very structured way, while practical development teaches me what actually works in the real world environments. Like, for example, during my IoT-based research work, which later received the recognition by as a patent by Government of India, I learned that building a prototype is only the beginning. Real world systems introduce challenges like noisy data, scalability issues, unstable connectivity, hardware limitations, and also unpredictable user behavior. So, those practical experiences actually help me to look at the research more realistically. At the same time, industry projects often inspire new research ideas because while implementing the solutions, you actually start noticing the gaps where existing approaches are not enough. That
Mm-hmm.
pushes you to experiment, optimize, and also innovate further. So I usually maintain this balance by continuously learning from both the sides. Like research keeps me updated with the new ideas and future possibilities, while practical implementation ensures that my work remains grounded, scalable, and impactful for the actual users. So I think the combination of research thinking and hands-on engineering is what actually make the solutions truly valuable. So
Correct.
yes, like research gives innovation, but implementation actually gives us the relevance. That's what I think.
I think this is the best way to look towards the research and practical work together, because at the end, like we are building a solution that is going to be impact the everyone's life, right? At the end, like we are going to deploy it for the real world scenario. So if you have that kind of vision, then things would be much more interesting for you, because now you are not looking at these things separately. You are considering it as a part of your work, and in that way, like it will be
Yes.
helpful both for researcher as well as for the consumer at the end. So now, Sakshi will talk bit about the Microsoft MVP title, because you are not only a two-time Microsoft MVP, but you are also the first AI MVP from the Vidarbha region, right? Which is a great and rare achievement at a time. So, what do you think? Like, what contributed most to reaching that level so early in your career? especially when you were busy with your research work and your other professional roles. So how like you reach out, like what was the journey of achieving this prestigious title for your reason as well, because this is a contribution for your reason too.
Yeah, so being recognized as a Microsoft MVP for 2 consecutive years and also being as the only AI MVP from Vidarbha region has actually both been an honor and also a huge responsibility for me. It's
Correct.
definitely one of the most meaningful milestone in my journey, but honestly, the foundation for it was built much earlier during my engineering days itself. So
Okay.
at that time I was very active in Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador MLSA program from my second year of engineering. So through MLSA program, I got exposure into technical communities, public speaking, mentorship, organizing events in my colleges, hackathons, and knowledge sharing at a much larger scale. That experience shaped me deeply because it taught me that technology is not just about learning individually, it's about creating impact collectively and growing together as a community.
Correct.
So I think what contributed most to reaching that stage early in my career was consistency and authenticity. Like I never focused on only titles, visibility, or achievements. My focus was always on learning deeply, building practical solutions, sharing knowledge openly, mentoring my other students, and also helping the people who genuinely wanted to grow in the field of technology. So after that, being a Microsoft MVP also changes the way you look at the leadership. Like when people see you as a community leader, they look up to you not only for technical guidance, but also for motivation, direction, as well as support. So that
Right.
responsibility shaped my leadership style a lot. It taught me to stay approachable, continuously keep learning, accept the feedback, whether it be positive or negative, and focus on enabling others rather than only chasing personal growth. And
Correct.
coming from Nagpur and representing the Vidarbha region, I also feel a deeper sense of responsibility because representation truly matters. Like
Correct.
Nagpur is itself a growing metro city now with incredible talent and opportunities. And
Agree.
across Vidarbha region as well, there are many brilliant students, developers, and innovators doing exceptional work. So through my journey, I always try to show that impactful solution, global recognition, and leadership in technology are not limited to only a few major tech hubs. So I
Correct.
want more students and professionals from our region to believe that they can contribute at a global level while staying connected to their roots. Like if you stay curious, consistent, community driven, and willing to continuously learn, opportunities eventually will flow. And I think that mindset is something I always try to represent through my work and contribution.
That's a great vision, especially for the young generation of Vidarbha region, because when you have leader like Sakshi, who's consistently working not only for herself but for the entire region, so that is something that really inspirational for all the young developers. And if we particularly talk about Sakshi, that reason, so how do you see the future of the Gen Zs, especially those who are into their graduation phase? Do you see like they are also actively contributing for the community driven events, because you are actively running one community of Nagpur, right? So how's their involvement in such community driven events?
So, like we founded the Nagpur Tech community along with my co-founders Kunal Patil, Shrutika Patil, and Tushar Sakre sir. So, the
Hmm.
vision behind creating the Nagpur Tech community was very personal for me because actually I was born and brought up in Nagpur. So,
Okay.
Nagpur being a metro city with tremendous talents and growing opportunities, but I always felt that there was a scope to build a stronger technology-driven ecosystem where the students and professionals could actually collaborate, learn emerging technologies, and gain more industry exposure through communities. So since this is the city too, so I always the strong feeling that I wanted to contribute something full back to it. So one thing I have while building community is that start community is much easier than sustain in a long term. So the hardest part in the consistency, universally organizing the quality events, keeping the members engaged, especially the Gen Zs,
Right.
adapting to the rapidly changing technologies, and ensuring that the community remains coming for the beginners as well as the professional, experienced professionals. So for me personally, the rewarding part is seeing the students who also once attended as beginners now becoming a professional speakers and mentors and also contribute as themselves. So that ripple effect is what actually makes the community true meaningful.
Okay. Yeah, I think in that way, like if students are also involving, they are also putting their efforts, then I think this reason is going to be a contribute a lot. Because like as when you were into your MVP phase, you were the first one to get recognized with this prestigious title. But I think now everyone has their own mindset that yes, how to achieve such kind of titles and how to contribute for the Microsoft ecosystem. So we can expect a lot of great other innovators who are going to join this community to share their expertise with the rest of the world. So that's a great good start for the Nagpur community as well. Okay,
Yes.
so now moving ahead, we'll talk a bit about the piece of advice, because we all know that you, since beginning, like you have been involved in mentorship and in the role of teacher, right? So if you were advising a computer science student in Bharat starting today, who wants to work in the field of artificial intelligence, what's the one thing you would tell them that yes, this is something that you should immediately stop doing it from now onwards? And on the other hand, what one thing you will recommend them that yes, this is something that you should follow in your day-to-day life in order to grab the skills in a better way? So what would be your do's and don'ts for those students?
Okay, so one thing I would genuinely like to tell the students is to stop doing is spending too much time only consuming the tutorials, courses, and motivational content without
Okay.
actually building anything. So today there's an overwhelming amount of learning content that is available online, and many
Correct.
students unintentionally get stuck in an endless preparation phase where they just keep watching the videos, collecting the certificates, and learning concepts theoretically, but rarely they apply them practically. Right. So learning is important, of course, but in AI especially, real growth happens only when you start building. So you
Correct.
understand the concepts much better when things break, when the model actually fails, when data set are messy, or when deployments don't actually work as you are expecting them to work. That problem solving experience is what actually develops your technical thinking. And
Correct.
one thing I would like to tell them to start immediately is build real world projects, even if they are small in the beginning. Pick a real world problem around you, work with actual data set, deploy application, participate in hackathons, contribute to the communities, collaborate with like-minded people around you, attend the technical events, and most importantly, keep experimenting consistently. For example, instead of just spending months only on learning about what are the machine learning algorithms theoretically, you can try building a small recommendation system or chatbot or let's say anomaly detection model or many AI powered applications. Through
Mm-hmm.
that process, you will naturally learn the data cleaning, data debugging, deployment, optimization, teamwork, and also communication, which are equally important in real world AI careers.
Correct.
I would also like to encourage the student to become part of the communities because communities accelerate growth massively. When you
Yes.
interact with mentors, developers, researchers, or builders around you, you gain exposure beyond college curriculum and start understanding how technology is actually used in the industry and research. As
Correct.
AI is evolving extremely fast and practical problem solving ability matters much more than just certificates or theoretical knowledge. The students who grow fastest are usually the ones who stay curious, experiment consistently, take initiatives, and are not afraid to fail while learning. Right? Because
Right.
honestly, in technology, failure is not actually a setback; it's a part of the learning process.
Correct.
Every project that is failed, debugging issue, or a rejected ideas actually teach us something valuable. And the earlier the student becomes comfortable with experimenting and learning from mistakes, the faster they grow both technically and professionally. That's what I believe.
Yeah, and I think you just shared two very important line here. One thing is do not trap yourself in the phase of preparation, because this is also also agree with this point, because sometimes students feel that they are not prepared yet, they're still in the phase of learning and preparing. But the moment when you trust yourself that yes, you know the basics, you know the foundational thing, and it's time to build something real. So that is a great way of learning, because once you are comfortable that yes, you knows about the basics things, it's the right time to start with the project. Even though if it is a small project, just give it at a start, it a try, because once you start building the things, by the time you will explore more things, more challenges, and then you will become a better version of yourself. So I think this is the best thing. Secondly, involve in community driven events, like those who are from Nagpur, they can join events uh, initiated by Shakshi and her team, because these kind of events will also allow you to interact with the like minded people. And when you are interacting with them, you will discuss the things and they will also guide you. And not only for that community, there are many other communities, so just go and explore, like where you can learn and where you can contribute. So these are the two key learnings, I think, for everyone, and you can start exploring these areas and it will really help you. Okay, so
Yes.
now Sakshi will going to talk bit about the AI agents, because nowadays everyone is talking
Okay.
about AI agents, and especially the multi-models right now. So where do you think, like, the Azure AI ecosystem is genuinely ahead when we are talking about, and where does it quietly playing the catch up when we are talking about the Azure AI ecosystem in terms of AI? So how do you see these two things together?
Okay, so I think Azure AI is genuinely ahead in enterprise readiness, security governance, and responsible AI capabilities. Like
Mm-hmm.
large organizations care deeply about compliance, scalability, identity management, and even data security and integration with the existing enterprise system. And Microsoft has built a very strong ecosystem around those needs. Azure is
Mm-hmm.
especially powerful when combining services like Azure OpenAI, Azure AI Search, Power Platform, Microsoft Fabric, and enterprise cloud infrastructure together. So it allows the organization to move from experimentation to actual production grade AI systems much more efficiently.
Correct.
Another area where Azure stands out is what I think hybrid and enterprise AI deployment. Like many enterprise cannot move everything fully to the cloud immediately, and Azure provides a strong support for hybrid architectures as well as the enterprise workflows. So, where the ecosystem is still quietly catching up is the speed of experimentation compared to the open source AI ecosystem. So, open source communities often move extremely faster, especially around the agentic frameworks, multimodal experimentation, and
Mm-hmm.
cutting edge research implementations also. So sometimes developer get access to the new innovations before even before they become fully integrated into the enterprise cloud platforms.
Correct.
Microsoft's strength has always been taking emerging technologies and making them enterprise ready with reliability, governance, and scalability, and also responsible AI practices.
Right. Right. And you also worked with the RAG pipelines, right? So when you build a RAG
Yes.
pipeline using the Azure AI Search or Azure OpenAI, so how do you handle the situation called grounding quality? Because that's a problem, right? So how do you handle the grounding
Yes.
problem, quality problem? And what is your roadmap when you are interacting with such kind of problems, or and when you encounter such kind of issues?
Okay, so grounding quality is one of the most important and challenging aspect of building production grade rack systems, because retrieval being technically correct does not guarantee that the LLM will interpret the context correctly. So my debugging workflow usually starts with the retrieval analysis, like are the chunks semantically meaningful? Is the
Mm-hmm.
chunk size too small or too large? Is important context being split incorrectly, or are there any embeddings capturing domain specific terminologies properly or not? Then after that, I evaluate the ranking quality, like are the top retrieve chunks actually the most relevant? Would hybrid search perform better than pure vector search, or should semantic ranking or metadata filtering be improved? Like this. So after retrieval, I analyze the prompt construction very carefully. Is the model explicitly instructed to stay grounded, or are sources constrained or citations enforced, or is the context overloaded or ambiguous, or even is the prompt encouraging concise actual responses? So I also create evaluation data sets with expected output and test case failures manually. So in many cases, hallucination happened not because the retrieval failed, but because the context is very noisy, ambiguous, incomplete, or even poorly structured sometimes for the model. So
Correct.
in production system, grounding quality becomes a combination of actually a good retrieval strategies, prompt engineering, evaluation pipelines, monitoring, and even iterative optimization, rather than just simply adding the vector search and expecting the perfect output from it. That's what I
Okay.
think.
Yeah, that is true, and this is a kind of obstacle that every developer or researcher face. Another other than that, like I also found one very common issue, especially those who are working with the IoT. Think they can relate, because IoT data is quite messy, right? Because it contains missing values,
Yes.
irregular timestamp, sensor drift. So before any AI model sees it, what does your data cleaning and a feature engineering pipeline actually look like for the time series IoT data? And what's the dirtiest data set like you have had to clean when you are into your research work? So let's break it down in a very simple way, like what is your roadmap, like how you do the cleaning for that data, and what kind of practical do's and don'ts we should follow in order to deal with such scenarios.
Okay, so honestly, in many IoT projects, data pre-processing is often harder than building the ML model itself because
Mm-hmm.
real-world sensors data is extremely noisy and inconsistent. So my typical pre-processing pipeline includes handling missing values using interpolation, forward filling, or domain-specific imputations,
Mm-hmm.
timestamp normalization, and even resampling for irregular intervals, detecting outliers and sensor anomalies, or even correcting the sensor drift and calibration issues along with noise reduction and smoothing, synchronizing the multiple sensor streams, or even feature engineering using the rolling statistics, black feature trends, or moving average frequency domain features, and even temporal patterns. So I spend a significant time validating the sensor reliability because sometimes the faulty sensors create a pattern that actually look meaningful to the ML model but are actually hardware issues. So one of the dirtiest dataset that I worked on came from an IoT environment where the sensors had inconsistent sampling rates,
Mm-hmm.
duplicate timestamp, missing packets, corrupted values, and also sudden calibration drift. So some devices would randomly disconnect and reconnect, creating fragmented sequences with irregular time intervals. Cleaning
Okay.
that dataset required not only statistical pre-processing techniques but also understanding of how physically the system was supposed to behave. That experience actually taught me that in AI and IoT projects, domain knowledge and data engineering are often more important than the choice of which machine learning algorithm you are selecting
Correct.
itself.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so fine. I think we have discussed so many things regarding the AI, and I'm sure like there are plenty of things that we can discuss here, but we are short on time, so I just want to take couple of more questions before
Okay.
we wind up the discussion. And this is regarding the support of network. So Sakshi, like looking back on your career, who were the key people around you who had a defining impact on your journey so far?
Okay, so I genuinely believe that no journey is built alone, and I have been very fortunate to have incredible people supporting and guiding me throughout the different stages of my life and career. So, first and foremost, they are my parents that have the biggest impact on my journey. Like, they always encouraged me to dream bigger, supported my curiosity, and trusted on me even when I choose challenging or unconventional paths.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I am deeply grateful to the teachers of my school, Somalwar School, Maumia branch, and the college faculties of my college, YCC College Computer Technology Department, who constantly motivated me to think beyond the marks and academics. Like they always helped me to develop the confidence, communication skills, and the mindset to continuously learn and improve. Another major influence in my MVP journey has been Manu Philip sir. He is also an AI MVP. So he was the person who actually first nominated me for becoming a Microsoft MVP and mentored me during my initial days, even when the time I was just graduating from my college and stepping into the professional world. And along with them were Rakesh Darge sir, who is also an AI ERP MVP, who continuously guided me throughout my MVP journey. Like his mentorship helped me understand better leadership qualities, community impact, and how to create meaningful contributions in technology ecosystem beyond individual achievements. Apart from this, I am also grateful to two of my college professors, Dr. Supriya Thomre ma'am and Vaibhav Doipode sir, who has played particularly important role in my journey. So they have always encouraged me and supported me throughout my journey from college days to my current MVP journey and also professional careers. One thing I really value about their mentorship is that they never just appreciate my success, but they also help me learn from my mistakes. Like whenever I faced any confusion or setbacks on self-doubt, they guided me with patience and honesty. And of course, last but not the least, my Nagpur Tech Community Founders Group, who had a huge influence on my journey, like building communities, organizing initiatives, mentoring students, and creating opportunities become possible only if you have people around you who genuinely believe in the same mission. So yes, looking back, I feel at every stage of my journey, I had people who actually believed in me, guided me, and corrected me when needed, and encouraged me to grow.
That's really great to know like how your mentor has supported you in your journey. And now on the other hand, you are also supporting the young generation through your mentorship. So that is really like what leaders do when we got the helping hand. So it's our time to lend that help for the others as well. So you are exactly doing the same. So that's really great, Sakshi. And one more thing before we conclude the discussion, I just wanted to know one best thing about the country Bharat, because you are a proud citizen of Bharat. So, what one thing you would like to share with our global friends about our country, about our culture?
Okay, so one thing I feel most proud about Bharat is its ability to combine the deep cultural roots with rapid innovation. Bharat has an incredible diversity of talent, ideas, languages, and perspectives, yet there's a strong sense of resilience, adaptability, and ambition that connects people across the country. What
Yes.
inspires me the most is how young innovators from different cities and backgrounds are now building world class solutions in AI, startups, e research, cloud computing, and many other technologies. So I feel proud of Bharat's mindset of learning and growth. Even with the challenges, people here continuously strive to improve, adapt, and innovate. Today, Bharat is not just consuming the technology, we are actually actively contributing to the innovation through
Right.
engineering talent, research, entrepreneurship, as well as the digital transformation at a massive scale. So, yeah, that's what makes Bharat truly special for me is that we are able to move towards the future while still staying deeply connected to our values, culture, and sense of community. That balance between the tradition and innovation is something very unique and inspiring to share the rest of the world.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, thank you so much, Sakshi, for joining us today in this episode and for sharing so much information regarding your research work, AI, and your country as well. So, it was really a pleasure talking to you here. And thank you once again for being a part of the show.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to all the audience for their patient listening.